Welcome to the Over the Hump Podcast. Your gateway to the world of the iconic Brahman breed of cattle. At BRC Ranch, our passion for Brahman cattle runs deep. Join us as we delve into the heart of this extraordinary breed, unveiling its rich history, exploring industry trends, and sharing captivating stories that define the American Brahman. BRC Ranch stands as the pinnacle of Brahman excellence in America, boasting a decade-long legacy of champions and housing the finest Brahman bulls worldwide. It's not just about cattle, it's about a legacy that reverberates across ranches and hearts. Brought to you by BRC Ranch, where the Brahman legacy thrives and stories are woven into the very fabric of ranching. This is Over the Hump. And now your hosts, Brandon Cottrell, Rachel Cottrell, and Keaton Dodd.
Welcome to this episode of Over the Hump Podcast. And I have to say, this one has been one of the more interesting podcasts we've done. The topic that we started off with was basically identifying marketers versus breeders and maybe how to ideally be a little bit of both. But as the podcast went on, it evolved into a discussion of this new concept I was not aware of called the crazy hot matrix, or maybe it was the hot crazy matrix. It was some tool that you guys use in dating women. I don't know. It was crazy. So you're in for a real treat today if you want to hear how the crazy hot matrix or hot crazy matrix relates to marketing cattle. And as always, we hope you have a great day. Hope you enjoy. Hey guys, welcome back to this week's episode of Over the Hump Podcast. I'm your host today, Rachel Cottrell, and with me is Keaton Dodd and Brandon Cottrell. And today's topic is marketers versus breeders. So fun little discussion I'll be moderating and you guys jumping in. Of course, I'll jump in a little bit. But yeah, before we get into the topic, what's been going on at the ranch lately? What have y'all been doing?
Calf in July, embryo calves has been a big one.
Yep, it's still got we're done calving the embryo calves. I think now we've got a group of AIs that we AI'd early fall last year for late summer calves, and got a few more of those to go. And then here pretty quick, starting up 1st of September, we're waiting on that big slug over in Louisiana to start calving.
Early September will be our first embryo calves born in Louisiana. We're fixing to wean Januaries.
Yep.
So that'll be exciting. Get all those things to barn. I'm sure Connor's excited.
I'm going to laugh at that because I want to go on the record that we are filming this on August 1st and we are yet to wean our Januaries.
And there's marches in the show. Right?
There were maize.
There was a May at the show?
Yes, and it was bigger than our Januaries. I tell you what, if you want to mess with your own head, as we record this, I think the kickoff is going on right now. If you want to mess with your own head, go watch those young classes and then go look at the calves you've yet to wean. And you're like, oh, I'm so far behind. I'm screwed.
Where you know the actual birthdays.
I know, no.
And you write the actual birthday on the ear tag.
That's the problem with it, is it's, how stupid do they think we are?
Yeah. You got a 1,000-pound January calf as an 8-month-old.
No. How bad do you really think these people are overaging? I mean, are they doing like a 6-month change or
there's probably some out there, but I bet 3 to 4.
It's looking pretty standard at 90 days, 3 months.
So 3 months.
But there's some definite bold ones out there that are doing 6 months.
So, basically think they're showing their falls as springs and their springs as falls.
That's what I'm thinking too.
But, it used to bother me. It bothers me now because I'm thinking, oh, you people are crazy. People are smarter than this.
Yeah.
But, hell, after 18 months old, it all levels out and it doesn't matter anymore. So I'm like, who cares? Nobody ever remembers a baby that won at the little pumpkin pulling that was 400 pounds heavier, and then peters out by the time it's a year old. Then the real cattle come up. So it doesn't bother me. I'm like, y'all play, have fun. I don't care. I'm going to get you.
It bothers me that we're that stupid that we still like that as a whole industry we haven't figured out. Like, I don't know. Pretty black
people
and
are
white.
changing this. Yeah.
Yeah. It's getting harder over time when more and more people are doing it. because
Yeah.
then they all kind of look similar. But
Mhm.
then I sit back and like, ain't no way. I've got the heaviest weaning calf crop I ever had, and those cattle right there are still outweighing them 100 or 200 pounds.
I think that's the only reason we take maize to Houston is just to bust all up in their party with a little bitty thing, just so we can ruin the picture for everybody else. We put a little May out there that looks like it should nurse all the rest of them.
Yeah.
And we're just happy as can be to blow up the system.
I do. It is so annoying to me, though, when you have some judges that see these overaged cattle. I guess it's got to be judges that maybe are not in the trenches every day of raising cattle, so they don't have a visual mental reference, but they use this completely 6-month-old overaged animal and then say it's got so much power and so much performance, and I'm like, you're an idiot. I'm not sugarcoating it. This is not power. This is not performance. This is cheating.
Yeah, I mean, I saw, not even talking kickoff, but
Yeah,
saw
no, just
someone
talking
use-
in general.
yeah, I saw someone use a bull that was way overaged, and then their very first description was they favored his maturity. Well, yeah, he's 3
Yeah.
months more mature than the rest of them.
Yeah.
That's how that works.
I like
Yeah.
that extra testicle bulge.
He's a breeding age bull in the yearling class.
That's funny. I do have to say we've gone to, so by the time we were recording this, we have been to at least 4 shows this summer. TJBA, All-American, Lufkin, Kickoff. We didn't go to, I mean, we sent a few cattle to Kickoff, but us 3, we did not go to the Kickoff. I'm summer showed out, and I don't know how the rest of our listeners feel, but if I'm ready for a break of Brazos Valley Expo Center and the Stella Hotel, even though I love it, but I'm kind of tired of showing. And I've been watching some of the shows, and I don't know, I just don't feel the excitement that I usually do. I don't know if anybody else feels that way or if y'all do. I'm not going to ask you because I know
The
how
older
where
I
you
get,
stand.
I love Vicky and those live broadcasts
Yes.
because then I can sit in the comfort of my own chair or whatever I'm doing and watch the show in the air conditioning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Brandon and I can both act like we don't care about the shows, but I promise the past 2 days we've watched more classes than not and probably kept up with it pretty consistently. So we do care, but just a little bored with it, I guess, at the time probably would be the biggest deal.
I've been wondering this myself. Is
Just
it
doesn't
because
stimulate
we
me
have
quite like it used to.
too many shows? Like, is it because there has been 4 shows that we've all went to recently and we're just kind of, another day, another show? Or is it the heat? I think the heat is a big factor because it is so hot.
Yeah, and I think the model of open shows is changing. The concept of showing is changing some a little bit, where it's maybe at one point in time it was strictly a seed stock marketing event, and now it's transitioning to more of strictly a junior event, which may just be the
But I would also like to point out, this year and the past 6 years in a row, we've also seen the largest TJBAs and the largest AJBAs. We're getting more and more participation every single year. It's growing. So that can never be a bad thing.
No.
No.
But that may be the impact of that is trickling. A lot of those junior exhibitors are trickling over into the open show, and so it changes the dynamic of open shows a little bit, and it's almost like an open show TCCA. I don't know. I'm not saying that's bad or good, or just it is what it is.
Yeah, look, show ring looks a lot different than it did 20 years ago.
Yeah. I also, you mentioned how much you love Vicky's broadcast, and I do love that too. Yeah. But I do have an observation I'm going to share, is that looking at some of these show winners from international shows, they are way too fat. I'm going on the record and saying a lot of international cattle are too fat. And I have a little group text. Well, it's not a group text. It's a private text with me and someone that I would say is in the top 3 world's best Brahman breeders with us. So it's a respected person. And they also agree that these cattle are getting too fat.
Way too fat.
Too fat. That's my soapbox for the day.
Yeah, I think that might be one of the biggest problems
repulsively fat
that we face.
Ugh.
Because it causes so many other problems down the road.
Yeah, the disparagement in perception versus reality in the show ring, or phenotypes that we associate with certain function traits that actually have no connection, like calling them easy fleshing, and they're going to be more fertile. Like, no, that's a fat, barren, open.
Does anybody do that?
Yeah.
Is this the term? Okay, like, see, I don't know the dynamics of some of these countries, but I'm assuming that judges are selecting for fatness because that's all they're choosing.
Oh, yeah.
But surely they're not trying to justify it by saying they're easy fleshing.
Yeah, they are. I've heard that 50,000 times.
Sorry.
But I'm like, these heifers that are showing are fatter than any fat steers I've seen get ready to walk out of the feedlot.
The bulls cannot walk.
Think of it in this perspective.
They've gotten...
This should be a wake-up call for all of us, and it's probably not. But the average champion heifer at Louisville has more back fat than the champion fat steer at Louisville.
No way.
Oh, for sure. No, I mean, it's a substantial difference.
Yeah.
I mean, you think the average fat steer has 0.6 of fat, 0.7 of fat? I would say the champion Angus female probably has almost 1 inch of back fat, and I've seen some Brahmins that have the same.
Yeah.
I mean, what you
nuts.
know some of these pictures that, like, we've all shared screenshots of fat cattle internationally that are winning. How much back fat would you say they have?
Oh, like
2 inches?
Yeah, I mean, not 2 inches.
Okay.
I mean, that would be. But they're over 1 inch.
No, it's
Got
way
a
over
ruler
an inch.
here.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there might be some when you start to see where their pones multiply. So instead of just having 2 pones, they have 4 to 6 starting to work their way up the backside of
It's
their
muscle.
hip.
That's
Yeah.
bulge.
I get to thinking of like those scientific videos where you're looking under a microscope and like the cells are growing and multiplying and you hear the sound bloop, 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 bloop.
That's it.
Oh.
Yeah, what they taught us in judging when I was a little kid, that muscle bulges and flexes and fat hangs and shakes.
Yeah.
And you can really start to see that in cattle.
I would. Molly has been on a kick of watching 1,000-pound sisters.
I was just thinking the same thing.
Forever, and I'm so intrigued. Like I love watching My 600-Pound Life because Dr. Now is like my favorite human in the world. I love watching those shows. One, it answers so many questions, but two, when these people start losing weight and you compare how big they were and how wide they tracked or how wide they were, and then they start losing weight and you get back to where their skeleton is really the same size of everybody else's skeleton, you know? They've just over time gotten so fat it's pulled their skeleton apart. Watching those shows has even kind of opened my eyes more and more to how fat cattle really are.
Physiology.
Animal physiology.
I think you got to keep in mind what did the animal look like when they were selected a champion or when they were walked to the show ring versus what would that animal look like at a functional condition level.
Yeah.
And
fat is not muscle. Depth is not necessarily muscle.
But
the fattest ones crash the hardest every time.
Every time. But even to a lighter degree, we try to keep ours in relation to a lot of other people's show cattle fairly trim.
Yeah, I would say that we're on the fresher side of average.
But even when you bring those cattle back home and you start comparing them to their contemporaries that were full sisters that are the same age that were on just a different developmental path, those cattle look completely different. And
I'd say they have more problems long term.
You know who does not look different? 230, the bull 230, who is in our front pasture right now. And every day when I drive into the ranch, I stop and I'm like, dang, that is a nice bull. He looks literally the same as he did when he showed.
He's pretty close. He's a little bit trimmer.
Yeah, he's summering down. Yeah.
The two most impressive females that I've got to watch work through this year would be 250 and Margaret, because both of those were show heifers less than a year ago. They're out on pasture, either had their second calf or getting ready to have their second calf, and they really look like you could go throw a halter on them just about and go lead them in and win still today.
But that's also a little bit of management goes into that because when we turned them out, if we'd have turned those cows out a month earlier while they were still nursing calves, they'd have been during that month they'd have been sucked down quick because one, you got the nutritional change on the cow, and then you still got the calf pulling on them too. So like those, I try to time it on those show cattle to, if they're nursing a calf, at least wait till we wean the calf before we turn them back out, so you're not hitting them with a double whammy.
Yeah.
And try to mitigate as much of that environmental change as possible, but they don't take it so hard.
Well, that's kind of a good little opening segue to today's topic, which is marketers versus breeders and classification of both. And just kind of today going to have a little dialogue back and forth of maybe differences. But I don't know if either of y'all saw, Raymond Dort made a post this week that was a post that said blank is the best Brahman bull because all his calves are blank. And he was like, fill in the blank. Did y'all see that?
Yeah, I saw it.
That really got me thinking, and I really couldn't think of an answer. I could think of a lot of answers if it was the worst Brahman bull, because I was like, blank is the worst Brahman bull because all his calves are crazy, or blank is the worst Brahman bull because all his calves have bad feet. I could come up with quite a few of those. But
yeah, you just
really
start
got me
plugging
thinking.
in one side of the equation, and you can get the other, the
Yeah.
other side of it, good or bad. So I saw that post, and I was like, I got to thinking the same way, and because immediately I was like, oh, I'm about to say the greatest Brahman bull of all time. But then I was like, no, because in this certain area he was not. If you start plugging in this or that, your answer changes. It could be thousands of bulls.
It could be,
yeah.
But that really made me thinking really about this podcast of in all breeds, but in the Brahman breed and then seed stock industry, I think you're working with 2, maybe 3 sets of demographics if you just had to put people into a bucket. And I came up with marketers versus breeders. It might add a third of hobbyists or collectors. I don't know, but those may fall under the marketer category. But really, if you start thinking of people, you can kind of put them into one of the categories. And we alluded to this on the last podcast of whether you have a program, whether you're breeding for a program or whether you're breeding for, I don't know what, single trait specific things. But let's just talk through, when you think of the terms marketers versus breeders, what are some things that differentiate the two?
To me, like the one that jumps out to me, like marketer versus breeder, would be the outfit that's got natural calving cows, and not saying they're all natural calving by any means, but has natural calving cows, still turns out bulls, still has intentions of selling breeding stock at the end of the year. Versus, to me, a marketer is that the new round of embryos is for sale on Facebook this week that's out of an unproven mating, and we'll have a new mating next week, and we're probably going to have this donor cow that lives at Transova and's never even calved naturally, and she may have more calves this year than any other cow in the Brahman breed and not even have a natural calf, I guess.
Yeah, and I do, before we jump into this, I want to just say, we're not saying one is bad and one is good. There's good and bad things about being both, and really at the end of the day, I think you've got to be a little bit of both.
Oh, absolutely.
If you're going to be in the seed stock business, maybe like we talked about in the last one, you have polarizing extremes, and there's polarizing extremes in each of these categories too.
Yeah,
it's not meant to be critical. This is not meant to be critical. It's more of just kind of a discussion.
Yeah, polarizing extremes, but whatever you're marketing, the cattle have to match. Cattle or whatever you're doing. We're just happen to be talking about cattle here, but if you're marketing, the cattle have to match it. Or
does your marketing or does your message and your marketing match what you're producing?
That's right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh gosh, you see that all the.
Yeah.
I mean, pick up any Brahman journal, scroll through Facebook, and you're going to definitely see that does not tend to match.
Yeah. Just backing up a little bit, on the extreme side of things, you got people who are breeding and stuff like that, but they're so focused in on what they're doing, they forget to market the cattle and sell them. So there's a lot of people out there that are doing a great job, but you don't even know they exist because they're so focused in on the cattle that they forget about everything else. That's where our team comes in strong, because on our team, everybody has their specialty. Like me, I never make a post on Facebook or anything like that. So, but I'm all involved.
Yeah, you're 0% marketing.
0% marketing, and all in on breeding. But luckily on our team, we have some fantastic marketers.
Yeah.
But the key is, I'm going to jump out and say we have the best marketing in the breed, but the cattle match it too.
Right. Yeah.
And
Keaton, what do you think?
No, I actually just wrote down a question that I kind of goes back to all this, or y'all could have some thoughts too. But what's a better sign of the success of your program if you had the best show string in the world or the deepest and most consistent sell in the breed? What's a sign of a more progressive program?
The deepest and most consistent.
Yeah, I would think
sale.
so. Where like the show strings,
sure.
You're picking the highlighted, strongest members of the entire herd that you raised this year versus, if you could put together. I think it's more impressive to put together 100 good bulls than a
2 good show bulls.
Yeah, than the Grand and Reserve Champion bull at Houston.
Absolutely. Yeah,
can say
absolutely.
that.
We've been there.
Yeah, exactly.
On both sides of that equation, where you have a calf crop of 50 calf crops, you got 2 great ones, but the rest of them are junk.
What do you think's harder? And you can speak on this, both of y'all, because y'all probably done it or gotten close to it in some areas. Is it harder to raise the champion and reserve champion bull at Houston, or to sell 100 good marketable bulls in a year?
100 good marketable bulls a year.
Or to make 100 good, not sell, but to make 100 good marketable seed stock bulls.
I would say both. I would say both are hard, but both are doable because we're doing it.
Yeah.
We talk about all the time.
That's why I say we could speak on it.
What a market we're in, because we are sold out of good, high quality Brahman bulls all the time. The minute we have one that passes the fertility test, we sell it. So we can do both.
Yeah.
But
different levels of hard.
Different levels of hard.
It's hard to make a great individual, but it's also very hard to make a large group of good ones.
Yeah.
What's harder to make, one great one or 100 nice ones? I don't know.
I would say
you can get lucky and make one great one.
That's right.
You can get lucky and make 100 nice ones.
What was the last podcast where we were talking about breeding extremes? You can breed extreme, just like we said in that deal, you can breed extremes all the time and get lucky once, because you have that wide swath of quality or consistency or whatever it may be. Ever so often, you'll hit it just right. And so, yeah, you can do that, but that does not count the fallout and the throwaways. I want to be able to produce the ones that might just be just under freaking awesome, but have 1,000 of them. Or 100 of them, or whatever like that. And so
you hear the phrase a lot, oh, that person is a master marketer. Do you think that's a compliment or a slight insult? If I said, who's a master marketer in the cattle business, I think y'all both probably had someone that would pop into your head. Maybe not in the Brahmin business, but maybe in the Brahmin, and maybe you might think of a few in the non-Brahmin business. That when you hear that name, people always say they are a master marketer. Do you think that is a compliment or a slight insult?
Coupled with me keeping in mind that the cattle can match it, I think it's a compliment.
If the cattle match.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And
maybe
if the cattle match, because otherwise, if the cattle don't match, you're a liar.
Say if the cattle match, but if the cattle are usable,
well, like a name, we
profitable?
can say a name because it's a positive name, but like Lee Leachman, there's nobody that wouldn't agree that Lee Leachman is a master marketer, right? Mm-hmm. But everybody also respects him as a cattleman too, because he had the product to back it up in
80 years.
Their cattle are, at the end of the day, what they're marketing is that their cattle are going to be more profitable for ranchers, and they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't see how you could take that negative at all.
Yeah, that's truth in marketing. That's not a smoke show marketing.
Yes. Yeah, because basically bad marketers can be on both ends of the spectrum. They might be able to get the word out and all that kind of stuff and be in your face and what's going on in their program. But if it doesn't match it, that's not cool. That's a lie.
I can think of a couple. I can think of a couple like that. Again, not necessarily specific to Brahmin or specific to any breed, but you see their Facebook post that they are making all the time about having their online sales or, they're having this online sale and they're like, this is a great one, all, like talking up and writing up a footnote like it's $1 million animal, and then you look at the picture and the picture is a sale barn animal. Like, that's marketing that doesn't match, know?
Well,
you gotta be truthful, but I mean, just like I just said, it all has to match, and you can be the best at putting on a smoke show and be called a good marketer when you're really not. You're lying. But also at the same time, you can be like me, who I like to think I breed good cattle, but I'm a terrible marketer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm awful.
You are, because when people come to buy from you, you tell them what's wrong with the animal.
Yeah, it happens. I want them to be satisfied.
That's what he starts with. Well, this one needs blah blah blah.
Yeah, that's right. And that way, if later on down the road that flaw does come out, hey, I told you. Can't say I didn't told you.
I have like some general things I think different. Marketers versus breeders. I would say maybe it should be marketers that don't match their, like message, is that marketers try to make you think it's the message is always, I'm the best, I'm the smartest, my cattle are the best, just complete, I don't want to say over cockiness, but like bragging about all the positives, where a breeder is going to probably be a little more honest and open dialogue, about, here, I think my cattle are good, but here's also some areas I think we could improve. Do y'all observe that or agree? Like,
yeah, but who's going to put that in the ad?
Well, I don't mean necessarily in an ad, but like, let's say when you go to come buy from someone,
or
if you call up, if you're interested in buying, if someone having a sale and you call up and you're interested in buying, and they put like the complete 100% used car salesman pitch on you, but aren't honest, if you ask them like, well, how's the disposition on this animal? And they're like, oh, it's great, kid friendly, but like, it's really not in real life. Like, they're not honest about it. That's marketing versus breeder versus maybe it should be truth versus lying.
That's what it boils down to, is being honest and realistic, because as time goes on, this business is also about managing expectations. And so if they go into expecting pie in the sky, you better deliver pie in the sky. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you better at least soften the fall. If it doesn't work out, be honest with the people. Like, yes, we're strong in these areas. This animal's strong in these areas. Areas we need to improve are here and there. So at least they go into it knowing beforehand.
Yeah.
You have any?
No, thoughts? Yeah, the one I was thinking that is a marketing strategy of the master marketer that I guess is not my favorite, but it's like the deal of the week marketer, where every week they've got a new heifer that they're trying to sell on Facebook, and you got to buy her now because there's this illusion that there's a timeline where she'll be gone in a heartbeat or whatever.
Scarcity.
Yeah.
It's like a marketing principle of fake scarcity. Yeah.
Versus like a breeder, and we're transitioning to the point where we're at this level where we're trying to have an annual sale that's consistent. All our animals go through this sale and this sale every year. You know that nothing's getting sold behind your back, kind of thing. And so I guess that would be kind of one thing I'd see as like a sign of a breeder versus a marketer would be kind of consistency.
Yeah, having an annual sale.
Yeah.
A regular published marketing program, marketing calendar. Yeah. Versus, oh, what do I have this week that I can convert to cash?
Yeah, exactly. Drum up some business to pay a few bills.
Yeah. I think I just wrote down honesty. Seems like a general thing that we're coming up with, and I'll share an example of this. So on our website, we have a buy a Brahmin form. You'll get them, don't you? Like, where people fill out what they're looking for, and they tell you like, oh, I want a bull, I want this, and there's a line item on our form that says your budget. We ask that because that helps us direct. If someone says they're looking for a $5,000 heifer, well, then when we send them our list of what we have for available, we can only send them $5,000 heifers.
Time.
We don't ask that and then change the price to fit what their budget is, although some people do.
We're trying to save our time and energy and go and picturing cattle.
Yeah, narrowing it down.
Well, their time, too. How frustrating would it be? You find an animal you like to find out she's triple your
So
budget.
This week, did y'all see the one that came through that was a guy that said he was looking for 8 bulls and his budget was $25,000 per head? Do y'all remember that?
I didn't see that.
Okay. Yes, so it came through and it was an international client. He was looking for 8 bulls and budget of $25,000 per head. So I wrote him back and, asked him some questions. But I literally told him, I think your budget is way too high, depending on what you're looking for. If you're looking for like 8 Houston champions, then yes. But if you're just looking for good, solid breeding bulls, I think you can achieve that well under $25,000 per head. That's what a breeder would do, an honest breeder. A marketer would see that, and they would instantly pick all their $10,000 bulls and mark up the price to $25,000 and shoot the guy at the picture.
Actually, all of our bulls are priced at $25,000. That's crazy.
That's all we had. Every bull we had
is
$25,000. I even told the guy, maybe if your budget is like 25 times 8, I was like, so what's that? 400,000. I was like, maybe if your budget is $400,000 for this investment, we can get you like a super top AI sire, like you're the new owner of 413, and then 5 other bulls that are good, solid bulls that you can use at the $10,000 price point, But
I think I'm going to talk to that fellow, actually.
Did you?
I think so.
Not everybody would do that.
No.
Not everybody would say that.
If there's anyone who understands the need for branding, it's a cattle rancher. For 25 years, Ranch House Designs have been crafting custom logos for ranches just like yours around the country. And there's nothing more important than the right logo for building your brand. A logo is the handshake your ranch needs to capture the attention of potential clients and customers. So, turn to Ranch House Designs to make the solid first impression your ranch deserves. Let's get branding your ranch today. Go online to ranchhousedesigns.com.
So, let's say, okay, I want to talk about using outside bloodlines. Do you think it reflects in your marketing if like say BRC, we always bring in an outside bull here and there. Does that help or hurt your marketing?
I mean, I think if it's intentional and thought out, it's a good thing. But I do think that I get what you're saying. Whereas perception is, if BRC has to go use an outside bull, are they really the premier breeder? But I think that's just a sign of knowing what you got, where you need to improve, and going and getting the piece. You think Kelly Schaff, he uses outside bulls every year, all the time.
Yeah, I think on the marketing side of things, I think sometimes it might give a buyer a hiccup or a hesitation because they're like, wait, what's going on here? But on the breeding side of things, it's probably necessary. But at the same time, there's a period in there of proving those cattle up. And just like we've seen it in some outside bulls that we've brought in, that first calf crop, you might try to sell some, you pick what you want to keep, you try to sell some of the others, those are always left to be picked over. Or
because people come to BRC wanting a BRC
That's
bloodline.
Right. And so they're hesitant to see that animal. But the next year or the next year after that, when that mating or that bull or this has proven itself, then they're all over it.
If it works.
Yeah.
If it works.
Yeah. And if it don't work, I guess and you can't blame anybody for that. Just say, hey, this is something new. I'm going to be cautious. I'm going to step back and just see what happens. Yeah. So, hey, it happens. You can't blame anybody for that.
Yeah. Well, but you think about the most famous Angus cow, at least of our time, 4136, and she's had 2 very famous flushes. 4136 she got flushed to Coleman Charlo, and she got flushed the Rito 707 bull. Both of those that made all of Schaaf's high sellers. I think you could ask him, he'd probably say those were his 2 most successful matings. Both of those are from outside sires, and both of those sires were sired by outside sires. So,
that's very interesting to look at.
And if you study some of the influential Brahmin outfits too, that everything's cyclical, or people have, as soon as you're at the top, you're on your way down, and as soon as you hit your bottom, you're on your way up, right? But if you follow along some of those old influential Brahmin operations, every time that they reached out and used kind of an outcross animal, that might have been the next 3 to 5 years, might have been their best years of the past decade or two. Was kind of always following when they went out and got fresh genetics. So I don't know.
I would say, like, to summary, I think a true breeder is always looking for the best possible animals to make the best possible mating, regardless of what brand they carry. You know, where a marketer is maybe a little more closed-minded in, I'm only going to use my own cattle because I'm the best. You know?
Yeah, and I think it's a unique situation in Brahmin because just the genetic pool is smaller in Brahmin. There's not as many Brahmins as Angus. So when you say you can go find an outside sire that still upholds kind of all these traits, whether it's function traits and phenotype traits that you've kind of made non-negotiables. Well, in Angus, there might be 15,000 bulls that you can choose from that fit dam calf 365, had a weaning ratio of such and such, fit my frame size and my birth weight criteria, whatever. Where in Brahmin, that might be 5 bulls or 2 bulls. It's just it's a numbers thing more than anything. Yeah. And so that makes it harder, I guess, perception-wise.
I have a scenario I want to throw out for y'all. Let's say you have a group of buyers, international buyers, that are at BRC. They're looking around, and then they say, hey, while we're in the area, we would really like to go visit Heritage because they're in this area too. How do you respond? What do you respond to that?
Oh, absolutely.
Definitely. Go check it out.
Yeah. Give me your...
I'll get you in contact with Judd.
Here's the address, or I'll give Judd a call and see if he's available.
Yeah, that's how you should respond. Yeah. And I would say, like, that scenario happens a lot. It happens a lot here in Wharton County because there's several different options you could go visit. I mean, almost weekly or every other week, that exact scenario happens where people come in and they've traveled a while to be here, and while they're here, they want to see every possible Brahmin animal that they can, you know. And like last week, Gayla calls me in the middle of the afternoon and was like, hey, we have some breeders here from Mexico. They want to come look. Are y'all available? Yes. It's sharing and helping, you know. That's not always the response people get, though. And I will say that because we have had people come to us who say, like, we were just at X ranch and we asked, do you know where BRC ranch is? And they say, no, we don't know where their ranch is. But I'm like, well, Wharton County is a radius of what, 30 miles?
We've been driving around for 2 hours trying to find you.
Like, there's only about a 30-mile radius that all of us are in.
Yeah, it turns out we've met before.
But you did not know where the ranch is. You know? I think that's a sign of a marketer versus a breeder. Like, do you welcome people to go look at all? I think when we are selling cattle, we welcome and expect that people are going to visit multiple operations, look at the cattle, choose the best animal for them. But maybe not everybody feels that way.
I think it's confidence in your own program and your own breeding and your own marketing. If you're confident in the fact that you've got good ones that can perform at expectations, and you know that the marketing matches that, you're very comfortable. I'm like, absolutely. The greatest thing I want to do, go look at other people's stuff. I want you to see how they stack up.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable enough with myself and my decisions and our program and all this kind of stuff that, I know my cattle can stand on their own. I invite you to go look at other people's. I would welcome the fact that you go do it because I know my cattle can at least stand up with the best.
Even take it a step further, people that have invested a lot of money with us, I almost want them to invest a little bit somewhere else and, hey, put them to the test.
Yeah.
I'm confident we're going to come out on top at the end, but...
You have taken customers to other ranches and personally escorted them and said, here, let me show you. If you want to see these other ranches, I will take you there and I will show you.
Yeah, absolutely. You know? And I think that 99.9% of the time that's going to be greeted with respect and appreciation. And that's going to be a good sign of your integrity moving forward.
Yes, if you help facilitate. You know, and I will also say, in those scenarios, sometimes people go around and look at different operations and they call us back at the end of the day and they're like, hey, this is the bull we picked out. We think he's the best bull. But sometimes they don't. Sometimes they go look at another operation and they choose a different bull from a different operation. And I think that's fine. I think if people have shown you the courtesy to come at least ask you what you have available and keep it into consideration, I think most true breeders and like people, true lovers of the breed, they want you to pick the best animal for what you need.
That's right. I'm happy. I'm just happy people thought about us.
Yeah, they give you the opportunity. Now, I will say it is frustrating if people choose an animal because they got suckered into something, and then that, they got talked into, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like talked into or sort of tricked into something.
Yeah, it hurts when you treat someone fairly and then someone takes advantage of that same person, I guess.
That's a little different,
Be like, wait, you bought that animal that's not as good, but you paid more money for it.
Hey, wait a minute. Why was I so fair?
Yeah.
I could have got more.
Yeah. I would say I'm just sharing a classic move here. If you have like a not so friendly person, is when it gets to the end of the day. You'll know what I'm talking about. Like if you have buyers that come in and from the beginning they've got an itinerary, like, hey, we're going to go visit this ranch at noon, this ranch at 2, and we'll be at you by 4. But then like they don't show up until like 4:55 when we close at 5, and then they're like, oh, well, we just couldn't get away because the previous ranch we were at is holding us up. That's kind of annoying. Like, that's sort of annoying. Anything else? I have another observation if y'all don't.
Well, go for it.
Breeders get excited when every new calf is born. Marketers get excited when they make a sale. Like, what motivates you to get up and do your business on the ranch? I would say for y'all, it's seeing the results of your mating decisions.
Yes.
Like, seeing your brain power working and seeing that, and then even thinking about how you're going to keep doing that. It's the matings, I think, that keep y'all driven. But for some, I think it's the thrill of a sale.
Yeah.
My driving force, I mean, I'm just speaking for me, but my driving force to drive every morning out to the ranch is I want to go see the new babies and see what has come to fruition.
Yeah.
And me personally, I could care less if I ever sold one, but it's,
well, you have said that is the goal. I mean, look at 3X Ranch or Kempfer's. Like, they don't even sell heifers. They did not sell heifers. They're solely about breeding.
I want to get to the point.
That's the dream.
I want to get to the point where I never sell a heifer. I mean, except the culls, and culls, but sell them as culls through the beef program or something like that. But anything that is deemed valuable enough for a replacement,
you want to
keep them as a replacement.
And grow your own herd.
The artist in me, like, very much so my favorite thing is seeing babies, seeing new matings. But the realist in me knows that if there's not a marketer involved in this, then me and Brandon we're janitors next year.
Just need an oil well.
I mean, so you could wish in one end, but at the same time,
we could just get some oil wells.
We could just play all day.
That's
we wouldn't sell anything.
You've got to be a little bit of both. Like we said, you have to
standing at the intersection with my cardboard sign.
We'll work for cows.
Okay, so in marketing, I think humility is a challenge and a struggle because a lot of good cattle breeders naturally are more quiet. They keep to themselves. They're not braggy. I mean, what's that saying? Like, you never ask someone how many cows they own because that's an insult, And so naturally,
it's the same as asking somebody how much money's in their bank account.
Right. A lot of good cattle breeders, grassroots cattle producers, tend to be more private. So it's a challenge because do you say, oh, I have 300 head of cattle. We operate on 600 acres of land, or do you be more quiet? So I don't know if it's, there are people.
No matter what, you have to market yourself. If you're going to sell anything, people got to know about you.
Right.
I mean, so you do have to pull the veil back at some point,
But like us, I will say, in our social media, you very rarely see pictures of us, like people. We tend to focus on pictures of cattle and scenic pictures of cattle, but very rarely we don't like putting our picture out there. We don't like, being in the spotlight. Yeah, it might be on the story when Molly is, or I think I put one of you in 4:30 on the story the other night, but kind of behind the scenes stuff. But
maybe because I'm getting old and fat and I don't want to be like see those old high school girlfriends that look and say, look at the bullet I dodged.
But I think that's sort of a challenge because what's the word? Introverts.
Yeah.
A lot of good cattle breeders are introverts. And it's hard to be an introvert, but at the same time, put yourself out there and I'm here and I'm me and I'm the breeder and look at me.
I would consider myself a high-functioning introvert. And yeah, I mean, the best days are when I don't have to talk about myself and nobody noticed I was there. And those are really hard to sell cattle if
I know.
That's the duality of it, I guess.
Yeah, how do you manage that?
You just got to be someone you're not.
Yeah, you have to
do it.
Get out there and do it. You know, I'm going to actually give a shout out. I'm going to give a huge shout out to Van Gaskins because that guy I believe he has met every single person at every Brahmin event that he has gone to because he has that ability to walk up to someone that you don't even know and stick out your hand and say, "Hi, I'm Van Gaskins, Indian Feather Brahmin."
But keep the entire experience where everyone's at comfort and at ease with one another.
It's completely organic with him, too.
Yes.
Because, it doesn't come off as fake ever. Like, he's genuinely interested in the conversation he's having with you.
Yeah, he loves meeting people and talking to people, where I would like to just put on my headphones and brush a cow all day and not talk to anybody, The
one thing I work on the hardest before Houston is conversation exit strategies. That's like the one skill I've developed from Houston is how to get out of conversations, and that's what you do. You just bounce from conversation.
Don't share it.
Because then you'll know. No,
yeah.
But
that is a challenge, I think, because a lot of breeders, if they had their ideal day, it would just be looking at cows all day and not talking to anybody. Like not talking to anyone on the phone. That's a challenge, I think, of marketing cattle is the phone time you have to spend, the amount of time you have to spend on the phone. And that is also hard if, like, y'all are day-to-day hands-on ranch workers, too. Like, y'all are not just sitting at a desk where you can answer the phone all day or driving around in a car where you can answer the phone all day.
On the standard working crew, if somebody was to stop the entire process to answer the phone, it better be important and somebody should have died.
Yeah, because you don't even answer my calls, and I'm your wife.
But how's it look if we're elbows deep and straining, Hey, what's up? And the other guy who's sitting there with a blood vessel popping out of his head while he's pulling or while he's holding something heavy.
Story, it was Winona when we pulled her first calf, which happened to be Melvin, and everybody knows about that story. But Ty answered the phone call from Brandon. He said, "Hello." Ty's not doing anything while we're all back there jacking this calf out. And Brandon, something along the lines of, "Oh, how's everything going?" And "Oh, it's just fine." They were like, "It's not fine." Everybody in the background, "It is not fine." And Ty's on the phone over there. "Oh, yeah, that's okay. Yeah,
we were at the fair.
Yeah.
We were at the fair.
In that particular situation, he answered the phone for the right person.
Yes, he did.
So you have to give it to Ty.
He knew when he better take that call. Right. Yeah, just, "Hello. No, everything's fine." "No, it is not fine."
Yeah. In that situation, his what he did not do, I want to know the realistic picture of what's going on. And so don't tell me it's paper,
that's fine.
Paper roses and rainbows when it's not. I need an accurate representation.
I don't know where we got there, but
well, it's just it's hard to answer the phone sometimes during the day for customers when you're working, when you're a real working cowboy, or not that y'all are cowboys, but cattlemen.
Some lady on the airplane the other day asked me where my boots were. She said, "You can't be a cowboy if you don't have boots." I said, "I'm not a cowboy, man. I'm not a cowboy."
So I think another good sign of a good program, like we talked about, they're a program. So I'm going to use J.D. Hudgens for an example. J.D. Hudgens' slogan, y'all know it?
Beef type Brahmins.
Beef type Brahmins, right? Like, Beef type Brahmins is their slogan, and I think that's been their slogan forever.
Been on the inside cover of the Cattleman magazine since the 60s, I think.
Obviously, they would need to clarify, but I was doing some research, and it's been their slogan from some of these old, like, 19, 20, 30, 40s magazines I have. The slogan is there, and I think it was maybe a slogan to differentiate themselves from the circus-type Brahmins that came, like, on the Hagenbeck-type circus, and some of those, because remember back in the early days of Brahmins, there was like the circus Brahmins,
draft type,
which have now evolved into our show.
I've seen some of those here recently, some of those circus stuff.
Show. But like if you go back to the grassroots development of the breed, there was circus stock and there was ranching stock, and I could be completely wrong, but that was my assessment of it.
I can't wait to start referencing people's cattle circus type.
The people that were breeding for cattle that could really, really work in this environment of the Gulf Coast versus the people who just wanted a yard ornament, like
who bought it from the Detroit Zoo,
trophy longhorn steer.
So I took it as that's the message, but that was 70. I'm not good at math. That's a long time ago, and it's still their message, but it still rings true. It is still, if you say a beef type Brahmin, we can all picture in our head what that looks like.
Yep.
That's a great example of being a good marketer and a good breeder because it matches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was consistent. Circus type.
Hagenbeck Circus.
Google I know. I've definitely heard about it.
If you're a new breeder and you don't know, you can Google up Hagenbeck Circus animals, because I think there were some Indian cattle that came over from the circus, and then follow the rabbit hole of what herds developed from the Hagenbeck Circus line. It's true. It's still true today.
Everybody back home quietly researching their cow herds.
Googling. You can also find some really cool Hagenbeck Circus memorabilia on eBay. Just saying, if you like to look at that.
I have to look that up.
Okay, this is kind of my last one that I jotted down. But marketers will sell you whatever they have, whether it's actually good or not, or if it aligns with a vision or not, and that breeders cull and are extremely careful and intentional of what they sell. Agree or disagree?
Yeah, no, I would definitely agree with that. And so, just because you have it, or just because I can sell it, doesn't mean I should sell it.
Yeah, or just because it was born on your ranch doesn't mean it needs to be sold to another breeder. It may need to be sold, into the beef program or something like that. But I think marketers I'm talking about the far left side of marketing, marketers only, they can find a way to spin everything no matter what it is,
Manipulation-based marketing.
Spin it and put something cool on it when really maybe that animal should have went to the sale barn. I'm going to also just call it, I see in our show ring, I see this happening. I mean, watching some of the shows, you look at in the bulls especially, y'all might think I'm being too harsh, but in the bulls especially, sometimes I look out here and I see bulls that are being shown, maybe by adults, maybe by breeders, but someone has purchased this bull. So someone has sold this person a bull, but really that bull, it should have been sent to the auction barn, and that's wrong to me. That doesn't set the breed forward in any way. You got to be selective about what you put out there and what you sell.
Especially on the disqualifier traits. Bad feet, long sheath, that kind of thing. But the truly good, there's good breeders and there's bad breeders. There's good marketers and there's bad marketers. It's the key of finding the good breeders that are good marketers and getting that.
Yeah, it's almost like you need a grid.
Yeah.
Like one of those grids
what's that one where
the hot crazy matrix.
The hot crazy matrix for the girls? Yeah.
I don't know if I was supposed to say that.
That's
it popped into my head.
The hot crazy matrix.
Yeah, you got the hot line and the crazy line, and you gotta get.
Well, no, but I mean, I'm assuming I know what the principle is.
Yes.
The hotter you are, the crazier you are.
You got higher up you want the ones that are the highest on the hot.
Yeah,
crazy
you just got to know.
If you get you a 10-10, I mean, that's a unicorn.
That's right.
10 hotness and 10 craziness?
10-1 then,
10-1,
I guess.
okay.
Those 10-1s are unicorns.
Yeah.
So I would say I'm like a 5-5.
Come on.
Like
off the charts hotness, but I sacrificed a little on the crazy.
All, in the words of Sloan Williams, all women are crazy.
WAC.
WAC, women are crazy. Wait, so this is where we're saying this is where you want to be as a breeder and a marketer.
You want to be a 10-1.
10-1, right?
Yeah, you want to be a 10-1.
10-1.
And it is attainable. You can get
How
there,
many
but
guys out? Do you think every guy knows about the hot, crazy matrix?
Absolutely,
100%.
And if they don't, if you showed it to them, they would be like,
"Oh, I've been living by that
man,
my whole life."
Yeah, heck yeah. Truer words were never spoken.
You never heard? Okay, well, we're all learning together.
I'm sorry. I am just laughing over here.
I'm going to show you the graph.
How many women know about this?
I guess a few more.
A few more now.
But
wow.
No, even on the breeder,
when was this developed? I want to notice when this. I want to notice.
Find it. Go look it up.
No, it's a very famous video.
If it was like pre-Facebook, and maybe that's why
it's like a Facebook,
on
YouTube
Facebook.
video.
But I'm like, that's accurate. But no, even the best breeders, they are so focused on improving the cattle that the ones they put out in the public, they want them to perform at that level, and so they're going to push the cattle that they know can really do it.
9 years old.
Yeah, it was 2015, it looks like. Is that right?
Yeah.
Created in 2015. The Universal. Oh, the Universal.
It's
Universal.
Universal.
It's a global thing.
Yeah.
Like, hot, crazy matrix is everything a young man needs to know about women. I'm not even going to look at this. I am not even going to look at this.
So applicable across...
This is truly when I wish Sloan Williams was alive, and I have no idea what the content of this is, but I would like to.
I guarantee you know what it's about. Yeah.
He would probably agree.
Yep.
Yeah, so the goal is to be a 10-1.
Yeah, I'm sure if you showed that graph to the most remote tribe in Africa, the Kanzulu or whoever tribe, and you showed that graph, even though you didn't speak the same language, they would know what that is.
This is not where I thought this podcast would end, but sounds like it's applicable. So we want to be a 10-1 on the breeding great cattle, right?
And marketing, being an honest marketer.
Marketing honestly.
That's that, and have some self-awareness.
Yeah. I think that's a key message here is honesty, being humble. Yeah, self-awareness.
Some people lie on accident.
Yeah,
like there's a lot of people that they lie on accident or they mismarket their cattle on accident. Because they're not self-aware. Yeah, not being self-aware enough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they don't have any intention.
They don't mean to be a bad person about it. Or they just mismarket their cattle out of.
Yeah, because they don't know.
That's a very interesting. So I think we do have some people that intentionally lie about their marketing, and then you have some that unintentional. They're not representing a truthful picture, but it's just because they don't know better.
Or whatever.
Yeah. It's not meant to be malicious.
I've gone through breed publications before and flipping and read the message that they've got in the caption part of the ad, and I look at the picture and I'm like, while I think that's really what you're trying to breed and what you're saying in the message, that picture you picked is not a representation of what you just said.
Well, that's where time and learning come into play.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm probably very guilty of that. I mean, I bet you if I had to estimate how many cattle print ads I have designed in my life, not just for my own family operations, but in general, it might be 5,000. I mean, I don't even know. And especially in my early days, like when I was doing a lot of steer show cattle marketing, you have a new breeder and they come up on the scene and they want you to make a cool ad, and you make a headline that said like winners found here, yet they've never produced a winner in their life. You know, that certainly wasn't intentional, but I've probably done it more times than I would like to admit. You know, find your next champion here, but there was no champions there to be found.
So I'm going to ask you this because of your area expertise in marketing, and you've created all those ads over the years. What goes through your mind if somebody comes through with a message like that and the picture doesn't match, or you know that it's not true? I mean, you're getting paid for a service.
I'm glad you asked that, because I have gone through phases. When I was first starting, as designing ads and creating marketing for other breeders, I did not have that knowledge of the cattle. So if the steer jack guy sends me this picture of his wonderful bull and is like, this is the next great thing.
Sound, functional, maternal.
Yeah.
Take him at his word.
I am typing that as the headline, but I didn't have enough expertise myself to look at that picture and see that ain't a sound, functional bull, you know? And I have been in situations where I've had clients that really want to have powerful marketing, but they have no message. So in some cases, we've had to create a message. If you don't have anything to market, you got to figure out something, new startup operations or things like that. But now when I do marketing, the first thing I do is look at the animal, look at the picture of the animal and try to build it around what truly that is.
I mean, shameless plug for Ranch House Designs, but that's what makes Ranch House special in ag marketing, because the team that you've built here over the last 25 years, they do know what it's about. So if you run into that person that's like, look, I'm in the cattle business, I don't exactly know what my messaging should be or this or that. The beauty of it is you can visit with the team members here at Ranch House Designs, and then we can be like, okay, well, here, after visiting with you, after reviewing your program, this, that, here are your strengths right now. Here are where you at. Yeah. And we can tailor this marketing to hit those points.
Because we are honest. Like, I'll say, if I have a new breeder that comes up and they don't have any track record, they have no proven progeny, to be honest, sometimes their message is location. Yeah. Like, their message is, I have show prospects in East Texas. And what we focus on is trying to attract people from that area. But we're not lying and saying they've done all this that they haven't. We're just being honest. And then over time, that message, can change. But also, I will say, we've weeded out a lot of customers. I don't work with people now where their message doesn't match what their brand is. I just don't work with those people, And when I started marketing at Ranch House Designs, it was 99. And to me, the person at that time that was the best was Christy Collins. And she had really amazing designs and really good photos, but what made her different from others is she had the knowledge too.
She was judging team member, judging shows, and all that. She was
rooted in practical ranching knowledge, and I'm the same way. I'm not designing just to design a cool ad. Everything we do is cattle first.
There's
quality
reason
of the cattle first.
That people in this industry go to Ranch House versus whoever builds Ford's marketing or something.
Yeah. That's a good discussion, but honest. But there were times where I have done a lot of fluff ads that had no substance.
Yeah.
When I was younger and didn't know any better.
Or even like marketing between bulls.
Well, I'm going to be honest, I don't do a lot of that anymore. But 15 years ago, Ranch House, you would go to Denver and we were marketing every club calf bull that was there. One year I did 50 banners for club calf bulls, and each one we promoted as the next great thing. Yeah. But we don't do that anymore.
Yeah. Even within our own program, we try to tailor the ads to the bull's strengths. Because there's always somebody looking for those strengths. It's a part of marketing.
So do you make the marketing strategy match the bull, or do you try and make the bull to match the marketing strategy?
Isn't there a phrase about the environment, right? The environment.
Oh, yeah, make the animal match the environment, or the environment, change the environment to fit the animal. It's a whole lot easier to change the animal to meet the environment. The same can be said about marketing,
honestly, because there are people who change up their whole program just to fit what kind of cattle they have available that calving season. It changes every 6 months.
See it all the time.
We see it all the time.
But that's what it takes for them to stay in business, I guess.
Yeah.
Whatever, but in an ideal world, the cattle would match the marketing. And I am happy to say we're as close to that as we are, as can be at BRC.
And that's the fun thing about where we're at in the cattle industry right now. And I'm not just talking because prices are high, but in general, different from pork or chicken or some of these other protein sources, there is a lot of different opportunities you can make money in the beef cattle industry different than somebody else. And we talk about it all the time, but your Piney Woods cow's dream where they're 800-pound cows and you may be selling the lightest weight calves at the sale barn, but the cow costs you nothing. I mean, that makes money, and I wouldn't say that you're like the sharpest sword in the beef industry making progression, but it's profitable, and there's just so many, or you can trade feeder calves or just buy, you can buy skinny cows, sell barn, fatten them up, and turn around and sell them. There's just a lot of different ways you can market them.
Yeah, and I have a dream in my head of something that I want to do. I'll never get to it because we don't live in the pine trees anymore, but just thinking about using those Piney Woods cattle in an area full of pine trees that normally doesn't get grazed, but you
Yeah, they may even pay you to graze it to keep it cleaned up underneath there. So you can...
And I'm like, and there's a place for those cattle. And
what is a Piney Woods cattle? I've learned two things today: the hot matrix and the.
It's
like
Mississippi.
Mississippi's Longhorn.
Mississippi's version of Longhorn.
Okay, so if you want to go from breeding like Johnny Brahman, you're the breeder of BRC Hickory Stump and BRC Piney Woods cattle.
And BRC Piney Woods one.
Yeah, so basically, the Florida Cracker cow, the Mississippi, Alabama Piney Woods cow, and the Texas Longhorn and the Corriente all started at the same.
Okay.
All of them started from the same stock of cattle, but they dispersed all throughout the South along the Gulf Coast and just grew to match their environment.
There you have it, folks.
Okay.
You can't say you didn't learn anything on Over the Hump Podcast.
There are also different strains of Piney Wood cattle from back in the open range days. The families that owned them and where they ranged, those cattle developed their own unique look.
So to wrap this up, I have a question for y'all. Do y'all know about the ladder theory of dating?
Dating?
Y'all mentioned the hot.
You have told me this before,
hot, crazy.
Yes. I have not heard the ladder theory.
Y'all mentioned the hot, crazy.
Yep.
The ladder theory, well, here you go,
this
guys.
Makes a lot of sense as well.
Guys, this is for you, and then we'll wrap it up. Anytime a girl meets a guy, they have two visual ladders in their head, the friend ladder or the dating ladder, and they immediately classify you into one ladder, either a friend ladder or a dating ladder, and also they classify you into a ladder and they classify you at a rung on the ladder. So if you're like, I guess if you're on the hot crazy matrix and you're like 10, you're getting put on the possible dating ladder, rung 10. But at any time in your dating, if you're dating a dating person level 2 and a dating person level 4 shows interest in you, you drop the level 2 and you move up on the ladder. And it's nearly impossible to jump from one ladder to another once you get put on the friend ladder and you try to jump into the like dating ladder. It's nearly impossible, and what happens is you jump off into like this crazy abyss down in the bottom and you can never recover the friendship.
Women are brutal.
That makes sense.
I can see that.
So I don't know if there's like a ladder theory of like breeders you will buy from, breeders you will not buy from.
Yeah, I can see that. If a girl puts you in the friend zone, but you're trying to get out of the friend zone and be on the dating ladder,
you are.
Because if you make
a sneaky pack and you're out of
gone,
here.
She's like, oh no, he was a friend. He cannot cross that line. He's out of here, and now not a friend, not a possible date.
No, yeah, it's done.
That's a bull bar. That's a bull bar right now.
Yeah.
Don't try to kiss your bull bars, I guess, is where we're getting at with this. I'm not sure.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, I think we're going to wrap this one up. Right?
Yep.
A lot of fun.
We're going to wrap it up. Hope you all have a great week. Thanks again for listening.
You've been listening to the Over the Hump Podcast. Our passion is Brahman cattle, and it runs deep. And this show is about its rich history, industry trends, and stories that define the American Brahman. We hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe. We'll be back soon. But in the meantime, find us on Instagram and Facebook at BR Cotrere. See you next time on the Over the Hump Podcast.